policy, not about the environment, not about jobs.
That's true, isn't it? It is all about the politics of this.
Business is not the business community. Forget about what the government said. The business community,
until next year, you can't wait.
The BCA are saying we can't wait.
3 months.
The business community saying the longer you wait, the more you put at risk business.
And
this is all about the Liberal Party stuck in the past. Climate change deniers who say, Malcolm, if you act on climate change, then we will take your leadership away from you. These right-wing extremists in the Liberal Party, and you know it's true. And if you were serious about this, you've had 18 months, draft some amendments. Don't give us 9 dot points. Give us some amendments.
The underway, as you know.
The Business Council of Australia have said, please negotiate, Malcolm. The problem is you've got people like Wilson Tuckey and Brendan Nelson. They're still listening to a leader who retires today on this stuff because they're stuck in the past. Come to the table.
What we're doing is negotiating. What
I hope you do.
Is putting forward amendments. What we are doing is seeking to engage you.
You're going to put forward amendments?
We've already said we're going to.
What do your colleagues think about that? You know, we heard yesterday Kevin Andrews in the party room, the Nationals, all in violent agreement with Brendan Nelson that there should not be any negotiation or compromise.
Well, I don't think that is an accurate characterisation, frankly. I mean, what they want is for us to wait till after Copenhagen. And that's what we all want, and that's what we're all saying. The government is not giving us that opportunity. So what we're doing as a coalition is acting responsibly. We're engaging the government on what is a very important and serious issue.
But there are some in your coalition who don't want you to do that.
Well, look, that's for them to make their case, as they do in the party room. But the coalition's position is unchanged. Absolutely unchanged. I think this is frankly a bit of a beat-up in terms of what happened yesterday. Our position is still the same today as it was yesterday, and it was 3 months ago.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to look at one final issue, and that is the departing member for Fowler, Julia Irwin. A bit of a stoush on the sidelines here between her and the union leader Paul Howes. He basically has had a good crack at her and her lack of contribution as far as he sees it. What do you make of this and the claims from Julia Irwin that this has just been a factional battleground Fowler in Sydney's West for many years?
Yeah, well, a bit of a dust-up between two different individuals. Paul Howes is a talented young member of the Labor movement who's got a big future in front of him. Julia has been a hard-working member for Fowler, hard-working member in Western Sydney who's been fighting for workers' rights, fought to stop Badgerys Airport getting off the ground, which I think is important. It's no secret that Fowler has had its problems in the past with branch stacking. Same problem has happened in the Liberal Party in Scott's turf, and I think the Liberal Party made a very good decision on the weekend to stop the right-wing extremists that are trying to take over Scott's seat and trying to kick him out of Parliament. The Liberal Party needs more good blokes like Scott in the Parliament. And
that's a good distraction.
No.
It's a good distraction, but what about your party?
The reforms that the Labor Party made to Fowler are the same that the Liberal Party are now making in Cook, and they do that for a reason.
So who should get the seat? Ed Husick of the right, or who would you support?
That's a decision for the party. I'm not going to support any individual candidate. What I'll say is that we want a person who's going to work hard for the local community, who understands Western Sydney.
The Prime Minister called on the caucus to maintain the discipline and unity which has served the government so well to this point. That seemed a very clear message in the wake of the Julia Irwin comments.
I think that's been overstated. Kevin makes this point regularly, and it's one of the key attributes of this government, that we are focused on delivering reform, and the reform that you saw announced yesterday.
Not just robots on the backbench.
Well, the big criticism that was made of the government last week, where Tony Abbott had an MPI again stuck in the past about the last 25 years, said that this isn't a reforming government. Well, the reforms that we announced yesterday about Telstra are one of the biggest microeconomic reforms that we've seen in the last 2 decades.
On Julia Irwin, I mean, there are many things I disagree with Julia on, obviously, from a political point of view, Israel particularly being one of them. But nevertheless, I think Julia has been an outspoken person for her views. And yesterday we had a debate in the Parliament about the role of women. And if women in the Labor Party were really allowed to ask the questions they wanted to answer, rather than what Anthony Albanese tells them to ask in the Parliament, then I suspect Julia Irwin would be asking some tough questions of the Prime Minister and the Labor government. But she's been silenced by the Labor Party for a very long time, and she's left in frustration, and I think it shows that in the Labor Party they talk a big game on women in the party, but Julia Irwin tells a very different story.
You can't be pre-selected if you're a woman for Higgins, because that's a leadership seat. That's what's happening. Apparently it's a leadership seat, so
let's see what happens in the pre-selection.
Well, I hope so.
I think the results will prove
because Peter Costello's been the member there for 20 years.
She won't get there on Emily's list, she'll get there on merit.
He's been the member there for 20 years, and he wasn't a leader, so it shouldn't stop anybody else.
And it won't.
All right, gentlemen, we've run out of time on AIM Agenda. Thank you, Scott Morris and Jason Clare. That's all for the program. Join David Spears this afternoon, 4:15 Eastern Time for PM Agenda as always. I'm Kieran Gilbert. Thanks for your company.